What's going on, everybody? Rob here with a little video. Believe me, this wasn't unboxing. I unboxed this. It's brand new. I got it in a couple days ago. I just picked up 5 gallons of diesel gas, but this is just going over this VVert diesel heater. This is the 8 kilowatt diesel heater, and I'm a van lifer, but I got a 0-degree sleeping bag, so that is good for me, and I keep the remote start in my pocket. So I remote started before I get out of my 0-degree sleeping bag. But this right here I bought for multiple reasons. I bought for my garage. I bought it as an emergency heat source. I bought for my garage and my van, okay? So this right here is a diesel heater. This is the all-in-one. They sell... hold on. Sorry, we had a phone call. So this right here, we have the remote control here. You have the LED display right here. It holds 1 gallon of diesel gas. The other ones that you could buy that are separately, they have the little air blower down here. They have the separate fuel pump, and they have the separate gas tank. It's a bigger gas tank, but you mount it wherever you're gonna mount it, and that's where it is. With this one right here, I'm able to, I did purchase the longest exhaust pipe that there is. I did purchase the longest exhaust pipe that there is, and I'm gonna purchase for like 25 bucks for stainless steel fittings, so I could put one on my garage, I could put one on my van, and I could put one on my house. But I'm gonna show you where I'm gonna put it on my house, okay? So this is your little exhaust pipe, and this is your muffler for it. They are loud, okay? From what I understand, they are loud. This is your little exhausting. I don't know how this goes on yet, to tell you the truth, but I will figure that out and let you know. But this is the little exhaust. This fits here perfectly. So that's your little exhaust, and it's a slinky, but it's not gonna slinky out too far. One of the best things I could say is that when air, it goes on here. See, on here and on here, and then you could direct it whichever way you want to direct the air for your van or for whatever. That'll be cool. It sucks in the air through the back, it blows it over the heat exchanger, and it comes out the front. There's no gas in here, so I can turn it over. Okay, so on the other side right here, I don't know if you can see it, let me see. Yeah, down here is your air intake and your exhaust. Your air intake and your exhaust. So your air intake is the one closest to your little gas line right here. That's your gas line. I think that's the worst place ever. But then this is your exhaust. And one reason, honestly, why I super like that, and a lot of newer furnaces and newer fireplaces are doing that. There's the heater right there. I'm in love with it. The orange is my favorite color anyways. But one reason why I like doing that is newer furnaces and newer fireplaces are doing it. I got an old boiler in my house, right? So it's like 180,000 BTU, and my pilot light is like this big as my pilot light. It cost me like $70 a month just to turn the pilot light on. But when it sucks all the air out, so when this sucks all the air out, it's a diesel heater. You have to vent it outside somewhere. In the garage, you have to have a vent outside. In the van, you have to have a vent outside. Anywhere, you have to have a vent outside. But on this air input now, this is what's important. This air input, it comes with the little air filter here. The air input should actually be outside also. And here's the thing, here's the principle behind it. Because this has an input for your warm air that's in your house, in your garage, in your van, it goes over the heat exchanger and comes out the front, right? So if you're pulling in cold air from the outside, you're pulling in cold air from the outside that's going to have to go through this. You're not recirculating the air in your house. You're not recirculating the air in your van. You're not recirculating the air in your house. So therefore, it's not as efficient, because if your air is up to 68 degrees and is still going through this, it's going to get warmer. But if your air is 14 degrees outside and you have the cold air import just sitting right on the side, it's going to have to cool that 14 degree air to the temperature. So it's going to take from the warm air circulating in your room. Okay, so I really like that. And the principle on that also is with the new fireplaces and the new boilers, they have air intakes that are in the combustion chamber, so it takes the air from the outside to form the combustion and exhaust it right back outside. It doesn't take the heat from the room. Now my boiler, we're gonna go downstairs, I got a 180,000 BTU boiler. When that sucker is on, it's like a huge flamethrower in the boiler, but in my mind I'm always thinking that's sucking the warmer out the basement because it's actually using basement air. So this is the diesel heater. We're gonna get this connected and everything when I get my other exhaust pipe in, because I bought a really long exhaust pipe. One of the good things about these with those really long exhaust pipes is I watch other videos, and by the time it gets out to the end of the exhaust pipe, it has cooled down enough, and I'm getting a through wall stainless steel fitting that it connects to it. So I'm gonna put the stainless steel fitting inside my garage, inside my van, and I'll show you where I'm gonna vent this in my basement. So with the all-in-one like this, basically after you have your exhaust pipe vented to the outside with your little fitting and you have your cold air intake wherever you're gonna be, I'm gonna have a fitting mounted for my van and for the outside that all I have to do is loosen this, and I can move this to my garage. I can sit this to the side in my van, and I can sit this to the side in my basement. Now, when it's in my basement, this is where the air is gonna come in, but I am actually gonna have this on here, and I'm gonna adapt it to a 4-inch one, so it goes further in my basement, so it pushes the air further, and then it brings the air in from one side, so it creates like a circular vortex in my basement, okay? So let me show you where I'm gonna port this at. All right, this is my Freddy Krueger boiler room down here. And it's on, so you can actually see it. Look at this. Now this is pulling air from the basement. Look at that flame. This is like my Freddy Krueger boiler right here, right? Look at that flame. Now it's pulling air from the basement. I don't know if I can touch this. No, I can't even touch that to open that up. But that is blowing air from the basement, and it's coming out right there. And that's a little where you got fresh air coming in also to go up and out. This right here is the water tank. Same thing, when it goes on, it pulls air from the basement. The newer ones pull outside air for that combustion, so that boiler wouldn't pull hot air or cold air or warm air from the basement. So I bought a 16-foot stainless steel pole right here. So I actually break this out about every other year to go ahead and clean that out. So what I'm gonna do is with the elbow, I'm gonna vent it right there. So that's gonna go through my chimney. Now on the other side of this was a window that I covered up. So I'm gonna drill through the window, and through that window is gonna be my cold air intake. So it's gonna one of my things for this year is minimalism. So this is a 16-foot bar that used to be a bar that I'm clearing off because I intend on sitting it up here. So when it goes on, you're not supposed to have another heat source. If you got a boiler in here or whatever, you're not supposed to have another heat source. You know why? Because just like that boiler is sucking all the air out the room to put it up that chimney, if you have, say, a fireplace right here that doesn't have an outside combustion, if it doesn't have a self-contained where it pulls air from the outside, heats it, and puts it right back out, that fireplace will draw air, and it could reverse the flue from your boiler, reverse the flue to try to pull air out of the fireplace. But seeing that this has an individual combustion chamber, I can pull the air from the outside, right outside this wall, because there was a window, it's all blocked up or whatever, I got to drill through that, and that's cold air, so you don't got to worry about the heat. Then it's going to come all the way across and out the chimney. So therefore, all it is going to do is circulate air in the basement. It's not going to cause a backdraft from the boiler. I got a whole different issue on that boiler, what I plan on doing, because that's that boiler is it costs a lot of money to run. Although there's more efficient ones out there, there's no computer on that thing, so I just keep that running because I don't have a problem. I knock on wood, but there's no problem with the what it going out. Now here's one thing about these diesel heaters right here. Back to the diesel heater. Startup, it uses a lot of power, between 10 and 12 amps on startup. There's a glow plug in there, so that glow plug has to get a really hot, so orange that it will ignite the diesel fluid. So when people plug these in, this is just 12 volts. 12 volts. Let me see what this says, and I can't even see. 12 volts at 15 amps. Look at that. That says 15 amps. 12 volts at 15 amps. So that is going to use a lot of juice upon startup, although it uses like 0.8 amps after it's up and running. But let me tell you this. These things right here, these Keurigs, they use 1500 watts for the first 3 minutes. When they start up, they are energy hogs when this thing starts up. So this is kind of the same principle, where it's going to be an energy hog for 3 minutes upon startup, but then after that it goes down, and all it is really moving the fans on top of that. But it is going to need 15 amps to start up. So I got some battery packs downstairs that I made, so I got to see if they'll draw 15 amps. But also I got a marine battery that's a 600 or 800 cold cranking amp battery that I could put a solar panel on this, and which is 12 volts. So when we do start it up, we are going to check them out. But if you want to see the inside, I've never taken this off. You flip them down, they hook right in here. Flip them down, they hook right in here. Flip it down, it hooks right in here. Flip it down, it hooks right in here. And take your gas cap off right here. Alright, you gotta watch it, because I don't know if the cord is stuck to this at all. No, okay, let me get this off. See, I told you I like that GoPro thing. Alright, so I told you this is a regular diesel heater right here. The combustion chamber is in right here. It pulls in the air from the outside. It goes over the combustion chamber and comes out right here. There's your 1 gallon gas tank right there. There's your programmable gauge and everything. You even got a remote control for it. And this is the weak spot, the weak point, I shall say. Why do I say that this is the weak spot, the weak point? That is the fuel pump, and so many people complain how loud this fuel pump is, the clicking on this fuel pump. So that's one thing. Eventually down the road I'll change. I'm going to change this to, they sell a more silent fuel pump. So this right here on this 1 gallon of diesel on low should get 30 hours of heat. So that really should be enough in my van for an overnighter or whatever if I need that. But if I need it in my garage to heat my garage, I have to have separate plugs, because all I want to be able to do is take this with me. This gets steady on the bottom. I disconnect it from here. I take it to the garage. I put it in the garage. I set it and forget it. I got a propane heater. I got 2 propane heaters, although you do go through quite a bit of propane with a propane heater. So this right here is a perfect emergency heater for me. Now there's people in Europe that are using these to heat their house because they can't afford heating oil right now. So they're using these to heat their house. So us here in America, it's expensive to heat houses, but maybe going through the nighttime or something like that, you might be able to use one of these. And another thing is diesel. I have no red diesel for me. Red diesel is non-taxed for road diesel. It's for farm machines or stuff like that, heating home oil. And it's red diesel. You can use red diesel in there, but I'm more in the city slicker, so red diesel not around me. So I paid $3.80 I think yesterday a gallon for diesel, and I bought 5 gallons of diesel. We're not turning this on today. I'm waiting for my exhaust pipe, and then I got to figure out where I'm putting my inputs and outputs, and how another phone's ringing, 2 phones ringing on this video, and how much amps it's gonna take. 15 amps. I gotta find a 15 amp startup. Talk to you later. Subscribe, like, and share. Okay, so it says do not use a cigarette lighter for startup. Do not use heater in closed or unventilated places, so you do have to keep your windows cracked on your vehicle. It also says do not cut off the power. The electrical power, don't just shut the power off when it's in operation. It has to, when you shut it off, it has to do its own thing to shut off. After turning off the machine, Do not immediately disconnect the power supply. It takes 3 to 5 minutes for the machine to stop working completely. So when you shut it off, don't completely just shut the power off. It takes 3 to 5 minutes to calm down. When the heater is just started, it currently is relatively high. So an adapter voltage of 12 volt and a current of 15 amps or greater is required to power the supply. Well, this is pretty interesting. It says optimal combustion. Remember, the smoke exhaust pipe cannot be placed upward. It has to be horizontal or downward. It can't be upward. You know, heat rises, but it's saying on this, the exhaust pipe has to be either horizontal or downward. Do not curve the exhaust pipe upward.